It's time for Ask Dr. Liu. He's here in the studio, obviously giving his cute little wave to the camera. I love it. How are you, Dr. Liu?
I'm doing great. Yesterday, by the way,
Uh-huh.
I had cucumber for dinner.
Oh, yay.
And then it was-
기자님 들으셨어요?
It was really tastes good because when you dip it in a gochujang sauce, and
so good.
It's so good.
Right.
And-
I mean, I'm in love with cucumbers. Like literally, not to make fun of our producer, it's like 오이는 거의 like at every like dinner at home or meal at home. There's some sort of 오이 반찬 because I just personally love it, but. You know, we digress. We're going to have to jump into our segment. So what do you have for us?
Okay, I'm going to talk about today CBT, Cognitive Behavioral Therapy.
How do we say that in Korean?
인지행동치료.
Oh,
인지행동치료.
it sounds so fancy. You got to explain.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, CBT, of course, like I said, it stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy.
Uh-huh.
It's a type of talk therapy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it teaches you how your thoughts and feelings and actions are all connected.
Okay.
So once you change the way of thinking, it can change your feeling, and then you can change the way you respond to that feeling in your life.
So there's that connectivity that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, that's right. Let me give some more example so our listeners might get better understanding of it.
Sure.
Okay, when I was in med school, I was studying in the library.
Okay.
It was super silent.
And
then I farted. It was so loud. I had to do this because when I was a sophomore, I got my appendix chopped out because it was ruptured.
Oh,
so my belly
no.
was filled with lots of pus, kind of yellowish, gooey.
You're talking about, in Korean, is it 맹장?
맹장,
터졌어요?
yeah, it was ruptured, so it turned into a peritonitis. Peritonitis 복막염. So my gut was filled with lots of pus.
Wow.
So I had my belly opened, and then I got tubes poked on my belly, ball belly. It was when I was a sophomore.
Wow, that's serious.
Yes, that was serious. But anyhow, one of the most common serious complications is flatulence. And
Which
also,
is fancy. Flatulence is a fancy way of saying farting.
farting, yeah, that's right. Flatulence and also ileus, paralytic ileus. Ileus is 장마비죠. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So in order for me to avoid some kind of a serious complications like a strangulation is ischemic damage on my belly areas.
너무 힘들어요. Ischemic damage. What are we talking about?
Yeah, okay. That's the worst case scenario. So I needed to let out my gas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you were in the library.
Yeah, I was in a library.
Were people like looking at you or like giving you the eye?
Yeah, that's right. So a lot of people, glanced over at me, and then I felt really embarrassed. And then after that, later that day, I kept replaying that moment. Oh, they're laughing at me. Oh, maybe they're still laughing at the thought of me, and then they were maybe continuously, joking about me. Then I asked myself, when someone else farts in public, do I judge them or do I think it over and over again?
No.
Usually I forget about it in maybe
Right.
5 seconds or 10 seconds. So I reframe my thoughts. Maybe I give someone a chuckle. Everybody farts.
Yes.
Even your idol kind of singers or you're kind of someone who you have a crush on, and that they fart and they carry their poops in their belly area. So and also holding it, it can give you a stomach ache, and it's bad for our gut and also our brain. So that kind of shift from shame to humor.
Okay.
That's called CBT in action.
There was a moral to the story, people. So, by the way, 식사하시는 분들, I apologize about this early
okay.
flatulence talk. It's 7:42 in the morning. If you're eating, put your fork or chopsticks down, right? Okay.
Okay, another example is, the famous Nobel Prize winner in literature is
Kang, yes.
That's right. I heard her saying this one. After getting married, she said she decided not to have a kid. Her reason was very deeply personal and yet deeply relatable. She said that there's too much sadness in the world, too much suffering. Why would I invite someone into that? That's what she said. But one day in the middle of a hot summer, she was sitting with her husband, sharing a slice of cold watermelon. And that's so good. The simple joy of that moment made her say, "Oh, this watermelon, this feels really great. It's so good." And her husband quietly replied, "Wouldn't you want our kid to feel something like this too?" And that gentle question didn't deny her pain or the sadness of the world, but it simply opened a small door to another possibility.
I see.
Even in the world full of darkness and tragedies, there are still moments worth living for. So after that question,
Okay.
Kang eventually changed her mind and decided to have a kid. So she has a son.
Okay.
So that way, that story is a perfect example called CBT. So it can be applied to treat depression, anxiety, and panic attack on some other insomnia and chronic pains and things like that.
Wow. So it sounds like CBT can be used to, as you mentioned, just a few of the ailments or illnesses. It's used commonly.
Yeah, very commonly. And also here in Korea,
Right.
There are high demands when it comes to getting hold of this kind of a therapy. But people are really worried about because there are some kind of a stigma that still here is.
That's so true because, I used to actually work with a therapist, not for my personal mental health, but for another reason. And she was telling me how people still very much so in Korea, they have this wall and people feel embarrassed about if they need to go see a therapist. That stigma still exists.
Yeah, stigma. But let me tell you this one. When I was in med school, I was taught a lot of psychiatric problems.
Yes.
And then all my friends were like this. Hey, according to the textbook, nobody is perfect. I am one of those. I'm one of those kind of mental health issues. I have one of those mental issues.
Of course, yes.
So nobody's perfect.
That's true.
So it's a matter of how can I say, the courage, I would say. So because of this kind of therapy is really important.
Yes.
Aside from medication. So AI can be a huge role in that sense. So interestingly, about 2 months ago, that study was done and was published 2 months ago at the American Psychiatric Association.
Okay.
And then this team consists of medical students and doctors and therapists, and
Yes.
they both deliver CBT-style text conversations. And then they decided which one is better when it comes to CBT. So, the results, humans outperform AI significantly.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Especially in empathy and flexibility and helping clients explore their inner thoughts.
Interesting.
Nonetheless, AI was pretty decent at structuring sessions, but came across as robotic and overly wordy, like a textbook lecture, not a conversation.
Not a real conversation. On the other hand, anecdotally, people who, I think Leon was mentioning one of our other guests saying that many people these days, the trend is for people to, for example, the ChatGPT thing, to use it as a quasi therapist to bounce ideas off of when you're feeling lonely or really blue. People tend to be doing this, but you're saying at least for this study, it still seems that humans are outperforming these AI programs.
Yeah, that's right. But AI does pretty good because I have to confess, sometimes I feel really stressed out.
Yes.
I use chat thing or some other stuff.
Many people do.
Yeah, many people do. Anyhow, I'm going to tell you how to make the most out of this AI and some other computer technology.
Sure.
Yeah. AI is a great support tool.
Yes.
But first, if you want some kind of a mental health, if you cannot get a hold of a kind of a special therapist nearby,
Sure.
AI can be a pretty good alternative. Okay, but let me tell you some steps whether you're a student or workers to get rid of your stressful burden. First, you need to talk it out. Having
Talk
a
it
real
out.
conversation with a friends over coffee or some other famous friendly friends or family members.
Yes, yes.
And there's also 24/7 call center.
Which is?
부산 시민이면 누구나 이용 가능한. Every Busanese can use this one. 정신 건강 상담 전화,
네.
mental health counseling service 24/7.
Yes.
And the number is 1577-0199. 1577-0199.
Yes, so that's 1577-0199.
That's right.
But there's also like a mental health hotline also, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's a national Korean government
Yes.
implemented this kind of a system. It's a mental health hotline is 129 here in
important
Korea.
to know.
Yeah, and also use CBT tools. It's an AI tool and some other applications. So I looked it up on my application.
Okay.
And then I want you to type distancing, or mind. If you're looking for an English version of it, mosaic, MOSAIK. Just type 인지행동치료, and then you can find some very
CBT tools.
CBT, and then you can really get a hold of a very easy and comfy CBT tools there. And also practice kindness, not to others, but to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really important for your health. Yeah, and also last thing I want to say to our listeners is, when you're down, you don't need a perfect day, and then you just need one better thought.
One better thought.
Yeah, one better thought. But remember, not every thought is a fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not every thought is a fact.
No.
Okay.
But you don't have to believe in everything you think. So just as importantly, write them down, something, especially something positive about yourself.
Okay.
And also one thing that you're proud of today. And it can shift your perspective. With the power, you can change your thoughts.
Yes.
And it can transform how you feel. And then it can transform the way you respond to your circumstances.
Yes.
So one thing, I want to wrap it up with my segment with this one. There's still so much space on the canvas of your life.
Okay.
So waiting for new, colorful, and beautiful stories.
It's a canvas. It's like a blank
canvas.
paper.
That's
right?
right.
And it's up to us to kind of fill it with whatever we want.
그렇죠. 맞습니다.
How are you going to paint your canvas today?
I'm going to paint my canvas with, seeing a lot of patients. And actually,
Yes.
seeing patients gives me a lot of lessons, life lessons.
Really? You learn from them.
And also, I had no choice but to be thankful for what I have, what I'm enjoying.
Sure.
Because I get to see more disabled and more in needy situation, more tragic situations. So whenever after get on my way home after work, I always just talking to myself. Oh, today was a little hard, but I did a good job. And then, even though me doing my job might be just a small drop in a big bucket, but I try to shed some light on the society, not only
Yes.
for the person and then the person's family. So yeah, I'm gonna paint my picture with a little more, a little bit dark, but I'm gonna cover with some white and beautiful rainbow colors.
Oh, nice. And Tommy's saying, what beautiful words. I think he was referring to there's still so much space on the canvas of your life, waiting for new colors and stories. So with that kind of very vivid image in our minds. Thank you so much for coming in today. And also, I certainly hope that if anybody out there might need any type of therapy or help, that we're not shy about reaching out. That, as Leslie says, therapy is for everyone, that we shouldn't be embarrassed or shy about reaching out if you need to speak to someone. And of course, the number 1577-0199, that's for here in Busan, but also the National Mental Health Hotline, once again, is 129. So thank you, Dr. Du. Have a wonderful week and weekend. We'll check in with you next week.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, everybody. This was Ask Dr. Du.